Welcome friends to another Dune video. Today we're going to look at the Fremen and their fight with the Harkonnens and how they attempt at least to expose the Baron to the higher powers in the Imperium. Want to know how that plays out? Friends, let's find out. The Fremen moved across the desert, blending in with their surroundings, and they moved towards Sietch Hadith. It was a legend. It held all meanings originated there. It was a place of conflict back to the first generation of the Zen Sunni. Now it belonged to the Harkonnens. They would each add to their tally of the dead that night with the Fremen. The Baron was using this place to hide spice, and it was not logged anywhere. Stilgar found the Sietch entrance. It had no seal. The door was open. It was a waste of moisture. They slew the first few guards they found, and then took the guards' last pistols. 6 more were killed without the Fremen making a sound. Stilgar found a barracks with 24 guards inside, and the Fremen captured and disarmed the guards, and they are then put to work. And Stilgar tells them all this illegal spice will be reported to Kaitain, a strategy suggested by Liet Kynes, and the sailors are unloaded for the Fremen ornithopters to pick up. And after, the Harkonnen guards are mostly dispatched quickly and painlessly. The cowards the Fremen take longer with. Those dead were then taken away to be rendered in a death still. The Baron would retaliate, so Stilgar moved the population of the nearby village to the safety of the Sietch, where they might become a Fremen. Liet, meanwhile, met the Emperor. Liet speaks of the harm carried out by the Harkonnens, and that he and his father planned to bring life to Arrakis for populations to come, and that it was being ignored what he was telling him. The Emperor says the Spice Minister will deal with the requests, if they have merit, and Kynes knew then that the Fremen would have to take care of Dune for themselves, and the Imperium be damned. And so he returned to Dune and his Sietch and family. A spotter sees a man approach the Sietch. It was someone they knew, Turok. They wonder what's happened to him. On the spice harvester, the Harkonnen troops had lifted off the cargo and then abandoned the crew and equipment to the Sandworm. Still and Liet decided they must deal with this themselves. Liet wants a gathering of Fremen to organise them, and only then will the Baron know their strength. Once gathered, Liet spoke to them, saying they must take action, because the Emperor will not. They must fight for their home. One Fremen, Pemak, draws his blade and challenges Liet to answer him. Liet accepts and is accused of trying to make himself leader of all the Fremen. There was a scuffle. Pemak tried to fall on his own blade, but Haina, another Nabe, stopped it and scarred the challenger instead. Then Pemak says, "I move that we elect Liet Kynes as our Abu Nabe, the father of all Sietchers, to lead us all." Liet says the smugglers no longer can be trusted. He must speak with the guild directly. Rondo Tuek, the water merchant who ran the smugglers, would also have to be dealt with. Liet and Still and 3 of the Fremen bypass their security systems. They found Tuek and Still removed his tongue, Liet his eyes, and then his ears, so he could not see, listen or speak. And finally they removed his hands, so he could take no further bribes. Liet met a guild representative. The guildsman from the waist down's body was an unclothed mass of amorphous, waxy flesh, as if it had been melted and hideously regrown. Fleshy webs joined his fingers. His yellow, protuberant eyes seemed alien, as if implanted from an exotic, dangerous creature. It says they will continue to operate, but the bribe that the Fremen pay to not be seen by satellites must be doubled. Liet says no middlemen now need to be paid. The guildsman responds the Harkonnens demand better satellite surveillance, and after further discussion they settle on an agreeable sum. Stilgar meanwhile watched as the Harkonnens landed at an abandoned village. It's been abandoned because the Harkonnens had poisoned it. Then the Fremen strike. Lasguns melted flesh and sawed through bone as the Fremen moved down the dune on boards, and they secured the carryall, and they preserved the Harkonnens for the death stills. Liet watched a flat salt pan, and at the appointed time, a black ornithopter flew over and landed, and the recovered spice from the carryall is given to the Space Guild, and Liet says the guild will not increase its bribe again, and they agree. Liet says the Baron has secretly been stockpiling spice, despite the monitoring of it by the Guild and later the Spacing Guild. Chom and the Emperor Sardaukar had come to investigate certain irregularities in spice production. So the guildsman, Elric, listened to his words. Liet says to Stilgar they have taken some of the Baron's spice hoard, and now they must strike whilst the Chom auditors are around. They must set fire to the secret spice hoard at the spaceport, and when this happened it took them all by surprise, all the powers gathered there, including the Baron. The Baron plays this off to the Sardaukar that it's just an industrial complex accident, and to the Mentat auditor he explains why it exploded, as there were volatile chemicals stored there, and perhaps a careless worker had not done his job. Later the Fremen gathered, and Liet saw the shadow on the moon's bright face that resembled a desert mouse. Muad'Dib comes to watch over us, he said. They gathered for a spice blow, and Stilgar sees worm sign. Liet wonders why it comes so close. It was an ancient one, and then many more came, forming a circle around the ancient one. The abrasive flow of sand made an undertone of whispering thunder. Liet says all the Fremen must witness this. The worms looked to the sky, the colossus at the centre towering above the rest. As the other worms circled, the larger ones' rings began to fall away from it until it dissolved into the sand trout, who burrowed away, and the other circling worms then left with them. The Fremen gathered, agreed they had witnessed a holy moment of rebirth. Stilgar murmurs, "Bless the Maker and his water." His voice was joined by the Fremen companions. "Bless the coming and going of him. May his passage cleanse the world. May he keep the world for his people." A significant passing, Liet thought. Something tremendous had changed in the universe. Shai-Hulud, king of the sandworms, had returned to the sand, opening the way for a new king. In the greater scheme of things, birth and death were intertwined with the remarkable processes of nature. As Pado Kynes had taught the Fremen, life, all life, is in the service of life. The entire landscape comes alive, filled with relationships and relationships within relationships. All there had witnessed this omen, that an important birth had happened. So now, friends, I turn things over to you. What important birth do you think they were hinting at here? Pretty obvious if you know the lore, but an interesting question nonetheless. Know an answer? Drop me a comment down below.